Welcome to the Kackbrat Chronicles.
Cheers. First drink of... Well, first drink after fucking Sober October.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Are you on your vodka and juice?
I am. It's the only way I drink. Unless I'm in a pub, and then I'll drink the draft. But, yeah. No hangover, nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
So,
It's nice. I enjoy vodka, but my drink of choice is always whiskey. I normally, when I start the podcast, I'll normally have a vodka and Red Bull, and then it becomes too sweet, and then I'll switch over to the whiskey. So I'm looking forward to having a whiskey now after this one. So tell me, you went on a hunt today with Yogi, and how did that go?
It was the first hunt that we've had this year on this particular ground. I remember it from last year, and I remember it being fairly sparse on birds, if I'm honest. So we set out on the first drive, parked up by the side of the road, and walked into the field. We must have put 15 birds just crossing the ditch to get in. And there must have been 100 birds put up on this drive. They're all wild birds as well. They haven't put any birds down. I think it kind of blew his little mind because the rest of the day he was clearly frustrated. There was other dogs working. Normally when we work together, it's just me and him. But he was absolutely shocking, ignoring basic commands. He chased a hare at one point, and he chased a fox at another point. Not desperately. Didn't get out of the same field because I had to shout him down. But I'm glad I was in friendly company because it felt like 12 months ago. It felt like he was a puppy again. He's covered in scratches. I filled my welly boot crossing the first dike. Properly filled it as well. I think we were both just miserable all day. It wasn't a write-off, but it did. Yeah, in this dog training, like it's a few steps forward and a few steps back, and we've definitely had a few steps back today.
But that's hunting, though. I mean, most days of hunting, you'll get some proper days where it's just easy and it's just nice, and some other days you just fucking can't hit anything and it's just shit. And I've always had this sort of thing with hunting where even a shit day is a nice day because you get to be out in nature and it's outside. You're not sitting in an office and you get to go outside. So I think even the shittest day of hunting is still not really that shit.
No, I'd agree with that. It was a lovely day out. Apart from filling my welly boot, I had a good day. Enjoying good company, friendly company, and learning about guns, because obviously I'm trying to buy a gun at the minute and getting some tips from lads I've been shooting for a long time. But Yogi's covered in scratches. He scratched his paw up a big amount and got some fur missing beneath his eyes in the Australian cricketer fashion. You know, these little stripes across here. He's asleep on my bed at the minute, and rather than chastise him and pull him off, I think just let him sleep. He doesn't know he's had a bad day. As far as he's concerned, he's just been working his little socks off. Bless him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I wonder, do you think he like knows it was a shitty day? Do you think he understands, or do you think it's just like there was just too many birds, too much scent hanging around? Just there's too much. What would you call it? Too much, not excitement. Too much. Yeah, was he just not overstimulated?
Yeah, he was. And I did my very best to sort of bring him back and chastise him. He ignored a couple of turn whistles. So when I give him a pip pip, it means look at me and I'll send you in another way. Which, to be honest with you, I'm happy with 70% accuracy on the turn whistles, because if he's got scent and he knows better than me, he's got the nose after all, then I'll let him get away with things. But he also ignored a stopped whistle, which is no. So he was brought back to heel and given short, sharp shrift, as we say. But I think he knows. I don't think he knows. I think he knows he's not had the best day possible. But when I'm thinking in my head why that was so, it was because he was frustrated. There were so many birds, and he didn't manage to get a solid point on one until the very end. What the biggest disappointment for me today was, we had a drive where the wind was coming across left to right. So the guns are all stood a couple of 100 yards ahead of me. What he should do in that pattern is work the wind forward to backwards. And he was working such a beautiful pattern. Went out, took the baseline, worked it. And when he got up to the gun, he he got some scent and started working around it. And it turned out to be a hare. Hare got up. He started to chase, and I had to yell him down, brought him back to me, and on his way back to me, he pushed a bird up that he'd missed.
Oh, shit.
So he worked a beautiful pattern, and he's decided to prioritise hares, which are no-go, compared to the birds, which are the quarry.
Yeah.
So I've got to scratch my head a little bit and think about it, but there's no point punishing him for it. He's worked his little socks off today, but disappointing.
Are you not allowed to shoot hares?
No, we are. Yeah, but there's no point him pointing hares because they get up anyway. I'm still scratching my head to why he was more concentrated on the hare scent than he was on the bird scent. But we don't know what's going on with the scent. We don't have the nose that they do. It's been a beautiful, sunshiny, still day. But I'm still scratching my head because yesterday I took him out on the farm, similar sort of conditions. He was pointing the birds, but he couldn't locate them directly. He'd just come to a stop, and then when I asked him to flush the birds to get up there and there, I was hoping for something similar today, and it didn't happen.
Is there a thing where do you feed him beforehand, or do you send him in hungry, or is there anything like that where he takes a scent better if he's hungry, or some other bullshit like that?
Not entirely sure. You can't really run them until... Cheers, man. You can't really run them on a full belly.
Ooh, that's nice.
I'm feeling that first one already. The general rule of thumb is you leave them a couple of hours after a feeding before you'd run them, because these deep-chested dogs are prone to stomach dysplasia. And if his stomach flips over when it's full, I wouldn't be near enough a vet to get that sorted out. It's a dog killer. It's a real serious dog killer. Just as an example, it happened to my mum's Alsatian. They fed him. He'd gone outside and had a bit of a run around. He started showing immediate pain, and they got him down to the vets within 30 minutes. The vet operated successfully and saved his life, but when, fortunately after rather than before, the vet told them that he was quite a young vet, and he said, I've only ever done this procedure 5 times, and this is the first one that's survived.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. When you speak to the hunting lads out in the field, that's the number one thing, is stomach dysplasia. So I'd never give him a full stomach, but obviously I want to give him plenty of calories beforehand. You can't carb load them in the same way. But I sort of did. I gave him some pasta as well as his meat last night. I mean, that dog's on 1 kilo of food a day, and he only weighs 28 kilos. Of course, that's like me and you having 4 Sunday roast, I guess.
Quite a bit of food. Yeah, I'm gonna need that on Sunday.
You're looking skinny, mate. You're looking very svelte.
Svelte. That's very fancy.
Yeah, man. You're looking really good. Skin looks
I must say,
better.
I'm feeling good. This month has been very interesting because I've done the Sober October a bunch of times before. I've never done it with a sort of like a fitness challenge type thing as well.
Mhm.
So it's been, the kettlebells have been flipping amazing. I really like doing it, and I think I'm definitely going to continue with it. I started last year with, in November, there's it's the Teenage Cancer Trust, I think, has a push-up challenge in November that I did last year just for shits and giggles. Couldn't do it last year. You're supposed to do 3,000 push-ups for the month, so basically 100 push-ups a day, and I just couldn't do it. I struggled, to be honest. When I started, I could barely do 10 in a row. Decided, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do it this year, and I'm going to properly do it. And started, and I've got a mate in South Africa, Jackie, that's doing it with me, and our Gideon as well. I'll make them both accountable. And started off easy. I can do like 30 push-ups in a go. So it's basically, I do 2 sets of 30 and 2 sets of 20, and then I'm done for the day. So I think I did 15 or 16 kettlebell 20 minutes in total for our challenge, for our month. And I can really feel the difference. I must say, I feel a lot stronger than I did last year. And obviously it's now accompanied by not drinking for a month, which is also helping a lot. And then I stupidly decided to do this half marathon on Sunday, coming Sunday, in 2 days' time. So I'll see. I haven't had a drink. This is my first drink since the last day of September. So I'll see how it goes on Sunday. But I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, Jim?
Good. I've not done as much as you with the kettlebell. I was used to using one anyway, previously. No, I don't feel any different. I don't. I don't want to keep going over the same point, but the lack of weed has been the biggest change to my whole routine. And
what's your plan? Are you going to keep up with not smoking?
Yeah, I'm going to give it. I think I'm done with it now, to be honest with you. I'm hoping some more benefits will come because I'm not, apart from the sleep, good sleep, and more concentration, I guess. I'm hoping that abstinence from weed will give me a little bit more impetus and a bit more energy towards my work. I don't want to stop drinking full time. I enjoy drinking for the social aspect and having something to say, but the weed was. I don't think I have downplayed it, but it's been a serious part of my life for a long time, and this little challenge I've done over the last month has been something and nothing, but I've genuinely done it. I've genuinely stopped smoking weed. And,
I think to stop something cold turkey when you've been doing it for that long is a big thing in itself. I mean, doing anything for 10 years and then just deciding, all right, I'm done now, is a big thing.
20 years.
20 years. Irrelevant of what it is. It's definitely, I mean, we now saw how difficult it is to start something. With the kettlebells, the initial plan was, I mean, when we were planning this, I told you said initially, let's do it every day. And I told you, this is going to be the fucking most difficult thing you've ever done, because just starting something and doing it every day for 30 days is going to be a mission. Now, okay, granted, we both of us, we were sick for probably the better part of fucking October, which made it more difficult. But if starting something new is so difficult, then stopping something that you've been doing for 20 years is equally, if not more difficult, because that's a set pattern. It's on there. And if you put it in terms of alcohol or weed or whatever, it is, for lack of a better word, it is a crutch. Whether you use it for social anxiety or fucking whatever, it is a crutch. And I must say, I've been, for the last 2 weeks or so, I've been sleeping a lot better. I've stopped. I think in the first 2 weeks I had like very aggressive dreams, in terms of not aggressive dreams, but I felt like from the moment I closed my eyes till the moment I woke up, I was just dreaming. So I woke up tired, not tired in the sense of like my body's tired, my mind was tired, because I was just fucking running around in my dreams the whole time. Now that has sort of stopped, and I feel like I've had better sleep than what I had in a long time. And we'll see how it goes tonight.
Well, speaking with Peter the other day, I think that there's a similar effect when you stop drinking and you're used to drinking a long time. Obviously, because I've done the both, I've attributed it to the lack of weed smoking, but I think it's been double fold because of the lack of both.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's quite terrifying. They're not been nightmares, but they've been really vivid dreams. And like you say, you feel like you're exerting energy in your sleep, which you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I wake up much more refreshed. I've been much more effective at work, especially in the last week. Managing to get stuff done, concentrating more, memory's better. I'm dead keen on keeping it up a little bit. As I've spoke to you before, Phil, the physical exercise thing, it's not for me. It's not. I'm not pushing myself.
Don't you think? Because I feel like I feel a lot better after doing just a little bit of kettlebells. Cheers, bud. Just the little bit of kettlebells that I've done now, and I mean 20 minutes. The first 2 or 3 sets that I did, the first 2 or 3 days of 20 minutes was fucking torture. My heart rate went up to the fucking 170, 180s, and I was struggling. And the last 5 was easy, like I enjoyed it. And for me, just seeing fucking random fly, bloody winter, fuck off and die. Where I went into the November challenge for the push-ups now, and seeing how easy it is to do the 100 push-ups now compared to last year, it's actually a bit of a drive for me now to keep it up, because I do feel a lot better. And it just, I don't want to say like fitness wise, but just like my body just feels a bit better just doing that small amount of something. Because I mean, I was fucking morbidly obese when I came here a year and a half ago. I think according to my BMI, I'm supposed to weigh like fucking 75 or 80 kilograms. I weighed 120. So I was a bit on the heavy side. And now I'm down to like 90, I think probably about 92 now. And I feel a shitload better. And I'd like to continue with this. I do feel a bit better. I don't fully understand your train of thought saying that you don't want to do anything because you're wearing your joints out.
Look, I fully believe this. I think exercise for exercise sake isn't necessarily healthy. I think exercise built into your daily routine is. What I have found doing it this month with the kettlebells is once I've done the workout, I'm not really thinking about anything else. I'm not stewing on stuff. I think my mental health has definitely improved. But I've never ever wanted to become buff or aspire to do marathons or anything. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I'm so lazy. I don't want to do that. I want to remain fit from doing what I do on the day.
I feel like if you do, I think what I realized, because it's interesting what you said about mental health now. I went through 2 or 3 very dark days in October where I came home and I just had shitty days, like I had 2 shitty days in a row. And I came home one evening and it got bad to the point where Alison gave me a bit of a bollocking and said, what the fuck's your problem? Like you're being a bit of an arse now. And I think it was one of those stints where I was a bit sick and blah 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 blah. I do think it's a good thing to do, just a simple thing like this 20 minutes of kettlebells, because if you do that, then that is the hardest part of your day. It does sort of, while you're doing that, in that 20 minutes, you're concentrating so much on just fucking staying alive and breathing and not having a stroke that you don't think of anything else. Nothing else fucking matters.
Yeah.
You're just concentrating on not dropping that fucking 16 kgs on your head. And I think that clears a lot of the demons away.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just easy. And I think that is a good thing. I feel like that is a good thing. And I take a look at myself now doing these push-ups where I do like 30 in the morning when I wake up, and then maybe another 30 before I go to work. And then I'll do, in between doing something at work, I'll do a quick 20 and another 20 over there, and then I'm done for the day. But it is just that fucking, I'm dreading doing another 20. And then you do the 20, and then it's like your day just became better because your 100's done. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I'm done with it. Great. Now I can go. And it's just that little bit of fucking suckiness that you force on yourself. And then the rest is just kiff.
One of the things that has put me off doing more is I'm a sweaty bastard.
Even me.
Yeah, you know.
Well, it's because you're unfit.
Yeah, basically. But I've always been a sweaty bastard. And once I've done the workout, I would never imagine doing it in between shifts at work because I would need a full shower and a clean but fresh set of clothes before I went out again.
Yeah, but that 20-minute kettlebells is a bit different now. You can't do that while you're changing groups and milking or something. That's a bit different. But popping out 20 push-ups is easy. It takes you a minute.
Yeah. Have you mentally prepared yourself for Sunday? Can I ask you? Have you ever done? What's the most you've run in a single day before?
10 kilometers. I've done a few 10 kilometer stints. I used to about 5-6 years ago. About 5-6 years ago. I used to do at least 5 kilometers a day. I really enjoy jogging, but because I've stuffed up both of my ankles with rugby at school and farming and whatnot, it became, obviously with me getting heavier and heavier, it became a bit of a problem, and I've popped both my ankles out a few times in the last few years, so I've stopped jogging. But 5-6 years ago I used to do 5 kilometers every single day. And I got really fit. I used to do.
Were you doing it on a treadmill, or were you doing it outside?
No, I was running outside. 5 kilometers under 25 minutes.
Were you always doing the same circuit every day?
That was I was living in a town back then in Kirkwood. So I would a small little town. So I would literally just jog around the whole town and then take 1 or 2 streets up and down, because if I just went around the town, it'll be 3 kilometers. So I had to make up 2 kilometers somewhere. So I just went up and down some streets.
3 kilometers. That's quite a small town.
Yeah, no, it's not big. It's basically, yeah, it's probably about the size of Otteringham. Yeah, it's sort of not a big place.
Yeah.
But
Were you not scared
yeah,
of
so I've never
eaten by.
Sorry, yeah.
Were you not scared of being eaten by the big cat?
By what?
By a big cat or some of the predators that you have over there? Surely there's an extra element of risk than there is running around at Otteringham.
There was, I must say, well, when I lived in town, if you live in any town in South Africa, you don't have to worry about lions and leopards. It is Africa, but they don't walk around the streets. Come on, Jim.
You blow my mind there. I just assume that they're waiting for everybody outside the town.
No, but to be honest, there was a short stint while I was on the farm, where I lived. I used to live right next to the Addo Elephant Park, and we had a leopard on the farm for a month or two that caught a kudu, 2 zebras, and 2 of my 18-month heifers. And I did not jog for those 2 months, because I did think like the chances of it actually going for me, I think, was slim to none. But I wasn't prepared to take that chance. I think I went out jogging once, and there was this, at the far end of the path that I used to go jog, there was this really like on the edge of what we call Utnake bushveld. It's like very, very thick. And as I was running there, I thought like, there's a small chance that this cat is looking at me now. And I thought, well, fuck that. And I just turned around and went back home, and I didn't go out again. Because there is something daunting about walking around there. Because at one point, I think it was the day after my birthday, actually, that I had a friend of mine that used to work for a leopard trust in South Africa. Ail's not going to listen to this. So Ail said, well, he'll come see where the tracks are, because we found a fresh kill the morning after my birthday, and we went to go walk around there, and you are on the tracks of a leopard. It's not a fucking cat, it's a fucking leopard, and we're walking around there, and I asked him like, are we safe? Like, this thing is here. It doesn't kill something and then fucks off 200 kilometers. It's here. It might come back. And the zebra is right over there. He says, yeah, no, there's a bit of a chance of this thing sitting up in a tree somewhere looking at us. I was like, well, why are we here? Can we not just like fucking not? So it's weird, but I mean,
changed then? Why did you said a couple of months. Why did you decide it was safe to go back out again? Did somebody shoot it, or?
No, it just went on. It just left.
Okay.
I think it was there for a solid 2 months, where we found footprints and stuff on a regular basis, and kills, fresh kills. And I mean, it killed big stuff. It killed the kudu that it caught was a 52-inch kudu bull. I don't know how clued up you are on inches of kudus, but a 52-inch, anything north of 50 inches is a fucking massive kudu bull. It killed that, and then it killed 2 zebras. I mean, a zebra is also quite a big thing. And then it killed 2 of my 18-month heifers. It's beef cattle heifers. They weigh 450 kgs. So I mean, it's 2 big heifers, 2 zebras, and the kudu. And the heifers we couldn't find. We found like pieces of hide. That's the only thing. We didn't find anything. Now, okay, granted, we do have bush pigs in that area. So if they find something, they make it disappear in a night.
Sure.
But yeah, and then it just disappeared. I can remember one night where one morning I went to go look for some cattle up in the mountain, and it had rained the night before, and I just saw on one of the like a big wooden post on on the corner of the farm, I could just see the scratches and the paw prints up the pole because it was like 2-meter high fencing. I could just see the paw prints, the 2 or 3 paw prints and the scratches going up the pole. And that was the last that we saw of it. Because remember that I think the Eastern Cape, where I was farming, the Eastern Cape is the province in South Africa with the most free roaming leopards in South Africa. And I mean, cheers. They move around. They're not, as far as I know, they're not like territorial where they'll stay in this little piece. They walk around, and you also can't keep them in, like, because they go over everything. I mean, you have to cage them in to keep them there.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane from my reckoning. That there's an animal out there that could kill you. Scratches telegraph poles up to 6 foot high. No. Mm-hmm.
It's scary in a sense of, if that thing came for you, you will 100% die. You're not fighting off a leopard. That thing weighs probably the same as what I weigh.
How would a leopard kill you then? Once it's jumped from a tree or a high bank and got on you?
That thing will go for your fucking coral pipe.
Okay, so does it have the decency to snap your neck and kill you outright? Or will it be like a bear or a wolf where it'll just start eating you?
No, it won't start eating you. It'll kill you, but it'll most probably. Now, I am not what would you call it? Like, I'm not a professional in terms of knowledge of leopards, but I would just think that thing would just completely crush everything that you've got in your neck and either just suffocate you or just bleed you out. But it'll probably just suffocate you and you'll fight and die.
Oh, well, that's a better death than what I imagine.
No, it's not like a bear. It's not like a bear where it pins you down and starts eating away at your thigh while you're screaming. It'll definitely kill you first. Because the cats normally go, as far as I know, cats will go for the soft meat. So if they catch, like, for instance, like a zebra, they'll go in the hind quarter, they'll go for the thighs, like the inside of the thighs, the soft meat. And then normally they'll eat like the liver and the heart and the lungs and stuff, like all the soft stuff. And then I think they can eat up to like 6 kgs, 7 kgs at a time, I think.
Right.
And then they might come back. I think they normally do come back if it's not been disturbed. And then they just fuck off. They won't eat like rotting stuff.
Well, God bless cats for doing it that way. Are you feeling even slightly pissed yet? Because I'm feeling hammered. If I'm honest.
We're only half an hour in, Jim. Brace yourself. No, I'm still feeling fine. I wanted to ask you something. Just for making this a bit interesting, because I don't think we've ever spoken about religion. Just talk about something completely different. We quickly spoke. I told you the other night to go Google. I think it's called pantheism.
Yeah.
Did you actually go Google it, or did you just not give a fuck?
No, I did. Yeah. And I've gone down this avenue before, in the way of thinking that, well, it's monotheism versus polytheism, I guess. If you believe in one God or you believe in gods plural.
Yeah. Yeah, where pantheism is sort of the thing where all of the gods are the same thing.
Yeah,
where everything is all inclusive and the universe is God and it is all connected and it's all just one thing.
I think the dominant religions now, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, all believe in a single God. I think that's a predominant religion now, as opposed to in the past where you thought there was a God for the trees, a God for the sun, a God for the moon, all the rest of it. I think it's an evolution of religion. And it's easier to digest because we all have, well, I say we all have, I genuinely think we've all got spiritualism in some form in us. It's part of our DNA and certainly the way that we've built our cultures. I mean, you can't organise people on a grand scale without some sort of common belief. And I think genuinely it's an easier way to get people on board to do bigger things. If you get confused in multiple gods, you end up with some tribes worshipping one god. You know, if you're elephant hunters, you believe in the elephant god. If you're mammoth hunters, you believe in the mammoth god, but acknowledge others.
Where do you stand on this? What's your train of thought?
Well, it pains me to admit it, but I am atheist. I don't want to be one of those cunts that just says there's no evidence. Scientifically, there's no. Because I do feel quite spiritual myself. I do feel that we're brought together more as humans in a belief of a single thing than we are all going off and getting our own things. And if you could bring it back to this things that we're going through at the minute with tribalism on a multimedia scale, where we're all subscribing to some sort of tribe, and there's people that you believe the same things that you can hang on to, and you call everybody else a cunt. From my point of view, I only ever pray or think about it seriously when I'm in times of need or times of desperation. I don't think that's healthy, but I think that's.
I think that's what most people do.
Yeah. Well, this is my point, I guess. When you boil it down to the basics of it, we all believe that we're put here for a reason. That we're doing the things because of a reason. No one can put their finger on it, and no one can describe it accurately. But the religions as we know them have given us a really good framework for building peaceful societies, and it works. Just because you can't boil it down and break it into its parts and say that it is this or that or the other scientifically, doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't exist. And I've gone the whole journey from thinking, when I was brought up, I was, Protestant Christian. I went to church and I listened to the doctrines and I sang in the choir and I was happy. There was an answer. There was a priest to go to speak to for your spiritual needs. You know, what we call a therapist now.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, they served their jobs pretty well. They got people through difficult times, and I appreciated that. And I appreciated what they'd done for my mum and my dad when they've been going through difficult times. They'd always gone to the church. But when you boil it down and you start being rational about it, you think, well, it's not. And through most of my teens and early 20s, I thought, well, this is bullshit. And I was militant atheist. As I've gone on later in life, I think.
Do you think, sorry, I want to stop you there, because this is, I think, part of the reason why I asked you this question, because I think most people go through, if you, in between the ages of, let's say, a 10-year stint of 15 to 25, you go through a bit of a rebellious stage where you start to sort of develop your own mind and your own viewpoints on stuff, and you tend to question a lot of stuff, and you tend to go like, you tend to take little stuff and go like, what's this thing? How do I feel about this thing? I've never, up until this point, I've never thought about anything else, because my mom and dad told me what to think and how to think and when to think. And then you sort of get to a point where you start to question stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people that I've spoken to ever in my life go through the same thing in that, like I said, that 10-year stint of let's question stuff, let's look at stuff, and I think I always wonder about, like you said, when you were a teen, you were like, this doesn't make sense. And I think that for me is very interesting, when you get to that age where you start to question stuff.
The most powerful thing that I've ever heard for an explanation of what I think you're talking about was when I went to visit my brother in Australia, and I went on a bit of a tour around before. So I landed in Sydney in the east, went up to the Blue Mountains, not far from Sydney, and did a little bit of a tour there. And then I drove down to my brother's house in Adelaide. And on the way, I went to Point Otway, which is on the south coast, and there was an Aboriginal museum, and I got to speak to an Aborigine tour guide, and he was explaining many things to us, the general tour guide stuff about how they use their resources and the family structure was the way that it was. But I asked him one question, because I was having this existential crisis at the time. I asked him the same question that you've basically asked me. What happens when you get to that teenage phase when you think everybody that's been telling me stuff is bullshit, and the religion that my family prescribed to doesn't give the answers? What do they do? And he said, when a young lad in Aborigine culture decides that he's going to go off and do something that's abhorrent, that he doesn't want to get involved anymore, and he wants to fucking rebel against the whole world, the older men in the tribe would come up to him, say he's kicking off, I fucking hate you, fucking all of you, fuck you, I'm done with you all. And the elder members of the tribe would come round, and they would just surround him, and they would put their arms around him, and they would hold him, basically to stop him doing what, physically stop him.
Yeah.
But rather than chastise him, they would just shout or whisper words of love into his ear. Just, you're one of us. You're one of us. You're not going anywhere. You're one of us. We are one of you. We'll get through this. And they wouldn't let go of him until he'd calmed down again. How much of that is true, I don't know. And how possible that is in the modern society, I don't know. But that sort of always struck with me. It's like, all you want to be told is, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We've all thought this at certain times. But just stop, just think, and just love. We've all got our arms around you. You are one of us. We are one of you. And they would hold him until he calmed down, and then when he calmed down, they'd talk about it on a deeper level. I thought, why can't we do that? And then I realised, oh shit, we've got knives and guns and stuff and social media to make that much more existential and much more outside the family. But in those societies, it was just family. What we've got to deal with now is much more than that. It's our social media presence, our friends and our peers.
That's always been an interesting thing for me to think about, and I think that was one of I can't remember who it was that I spoke to on this podcast, but I know that I've had this conversation before about questioning religion in any shape or form. And the reason why I find it so fascinating is I used to date a girl where I love speaking about, I love talking about race, I love talking about religion, I like talking about stuff like that, that's hard-hitting stuff. And nowadays, that's very difficult because you have to be politically correct and you have to watch out for the little fucking snowflakes and you have to be very careful and all of that bullshit. And I dated this chick way back when that was very narrow-minded in terms of most things, to the point where I think she was so religious that she did not believe in dinosaurs. She said that dinosaurs are like a conspiracy theory type thing, because nowhere in the Bible it talks about dinosaurs, and you're also not allowed to speak about it. I can remember one specific night, I think it was on my birthday. I had friends over, and we somehow went into the way of talking about religion, and I think it started with dinosaurs, and she just abruptly said, "Stop. We're not talking about this. We've all had a bit of whiskey, a bit of brandy, blah, 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 blah. It's wrong. You're not allowed to talk about this. And also, dinosaurs don't exist." But I've always... This is the interesting part. Irrespective of what religion you believe in, we all believe that we were made by something bigger than us. And I've always... I've spoken to a few people that said you're not allowed to question it. And that has always been an interesting sort of point for me, because I feel like that is I feel like you're slapping the hand of the deity that made you. If you go like, this person created me, or not this person, this deity, am I saying that correctly? Why does that sound funny now? Yeah, this deity created me, but he did not make me intelligent enough to question it.
Yeah.
And I've always, that has been an interesting fucking thought for me, because I've been thinking a lot over the last 4 or 5 months. I've spent a lot of time about thinking about where a thought comes from, where an original thought comes from, just because of the podcast. I've been trying to think of original thoughts and where original thoughts come from. That's a different fucking rabbit hole that I've been going down for the last 6 months. But in terms of religion, I've always wondered, if you put it just for argument's sake, if you put it into Christianity. I also grew up in a heavily like Christian family. And I also went through that phase of questioning everything when I got to the age of 17, 18, thereabouts.
Yeah.
And it's always been an interesting thought to me that thing of you're not allowed to question it. You must have that blind faith type thing where you must just believe for the sake of believing. And I always thought that, fucking hell, if someone created all of this, and I keep saying someone, I'm irritating myself now. If this deity, this God, let's put it into Christian terms, which is not just Christian, but in any way, if God created all of this, and he created me, and he created you, and he placed the little pieces of atoms together to create my brain, did he not do a good enough job for me to question that? He must have. Fuck, he created intelligent people. Why are we not allowed to question it? Because if you go, and this now pulls back a bit to the pantheism thing, where it's sort of all inclusive of. I think we actually have spoken about this before, where I think that's the main difference between religion and there's a word that you use, Nana, that I can't remember.
Atheism.
Spirituality.
Yeah.
Religion versus spirituality, where I think it all boils down to just don't be a cunt. Just be nice to everyone.
Yeah,
just be a good person.
No, but
and
how I
think
would characterize it, if I'm allowed to say, is that God didn't create us; we created God, and we did for a good reason, because it makes us better people. If we all believe in the same thing, the same reason that Aboriginal guy told me, that he'd just come round and say, "Look, mate, I've thought the same things as you. I've been through what you've been through, but what I've found is when we all pull together and we all work for a common cause, we have happier outcomes. We are happier because we've created you." I've never believed, and I don't genuinely believe now, that God created us. I think we created God. Doesn't make it any less real, because we all believe in it, and it pulls us together. And the things that we've done in the name of God have been much more than we could do as, animals, just servicing ourselves and nourishing ourselves and our families. But it is a construct. My belief, anyways, it is a construct of our mind. We created him. Yeah. Does it make him any less real? I don't think so.
But see, that's the thing, and that boils down. Not boils down. That goes back to what I said about my 5-month stint of going to, where do new ideas come from?
Cheers.
Cheers, Jim. And I've been really thinking a lot about, where do ideas come from? And if you put it into anything, if you put it into religion, where did it start?
Ideas come from.
Where was that one guy went, okay, we need structure, because religion is structure. Any religion is structure. We just need structure, and then you build something around that. Where did that start? Where does an original idea come from? Because I've been thinking that a lot of new ideas are not new. I'm struggling with this because I'm still busy with this, but I feel like most new ideas are not new ideas. They're building on a problem. It's like, I'm seeing this as a problem, so I'm building on this. So it's not, I'm not just sitting back and thinking, let's do this. I'm going, this is a problem that I'm faced with. Let's try and solve this. And that's what we are. We as people are problem solvers.
100% agree with that. And because when allowed, because of religion or common belief, we're allowed to think about those things, because we're not thinking about our immediate survival or the survival of our tribe or of our people. So it's chicken and egg. You believe in something, and then everybody works together, and they allow people to get out and fill those individual niches of thought, because you're not thinking about, when's the leopard coming? How do I feed myself? How do I keep this kid alive? Because your tribe's keeping that, and you trust that the tribe is keeping that. So your mind, I think it comes back to farming. Once we've managed to nourish ourselves easily, and with it much less labour hours and man hours than it would have done previously, what do you do with yourself? It's freed our minds. If you don't believe in anything, then you think about yourself and what's coming next, and you don't think about, you don't have the brain power spare to think about other things. But if you think, okay, everything's taken care of, wife's taken care of, mum's taken care of, what do I think about? That's where the thought comes from, because we've got these brains, from evolutionary advantage, from I can't even think about the ways that we got here, but I assume it's because we ate meat and bone marrow, and we're the chimps that decided to become carnivores, and then we've got all this excess energy. What would we do with it otherwise? War. And we still do it.
Let's see that.
But when you don't,
No, it is. I think you. Sorry, yeah.
No. But when you don't do it, your mind is freed to expand and think about other things, and everybody's mind goes in different directions. And if you're trusted and loved by your tribe, those ideas actually might become something real. If you're doing that in a hunter-gatherer society and thinking, oh shit, if I keep flinting this stone into something sharp, I might actually come up with something that's really useful. But if nobody else loves or trusts you and doesn't let you get on with that task, then it won't happen.
It's an interesting. I think that's why we are where we are at this point, in terms of. I'm gonna get chastised for this, but I think that's why we are where we are at this point with LGBTQ plus R7 upside down fucking something. I really do think this whole woke movement is because we've got it too easy.
Yeah.
Back in the day, 25 million gazillion years ago, as you said, we spent 95% of our brain power was spent on, we need to keep this fire alive during the night, otherwise the leopards are going to eat us.
Yeah.
You don't have the time to think of annuities or pension funds or fucking whatever, because you need to keep you and your family alive.
Yeah.
Now it's become too easy. And like I said, I do think people at base level, we are all problem solvers. We need to, that is what keeps us going, is we need to solve problems, whether it is at work or fucking whatever. We need to solve problems. Now, we don't have any problems anymore. It's too easy. And I say we very loosely, but I mean, but everyone's got problems. I'm not saying we don't have problems, but I just feel like that's why we're going down all these fucked up corridors of we're making problems for ourselves because we need to solve something.
Yeah.
And
100% agree.
It's
The elephant in
and that
the room.
builds that
The elephant.
Sorry, that comes back to that comes back to just doing 20 minutes of kettlebells. So that is the problem that you have to solve for that day, because then the rest of it goes easy, and then we don't think of fucking bullshit because we did that 20 minutes of kettlebells, and we're not worried about other fucking bullshit.
Mate, you've hit the nail on the head there. Philosophically, it's a balance between the two. You are allowed to think outside the box because your tribe allows it, but you still have responsibilities. If you don't have any responsibilities and everybody else is looking after you, then it goes too far, and you get too far down that thought train, which I think we're getting now there with the LGBTQ lot, where you're thinking, well, I can be a woman, I can be a man, I can be several different things in the same day. Those people, in my mind, don't have enough real shit to get on with. And unfortunately, I think that comes back down to what we spoke about in the first couple of podcasts. Is there's too many of us. There is
Oh yeah, definitely. No, we're
far
too
too
many
many of us,
people.
and we've that train of thought that has brought us to where we are and has come up with all the inventions now is going a little bit haywire. And well,
I think let's just say at this point that I think neither me nor you we don't have a problem with people on the LGBTQ
no,
spectrum, if
they've
you call it a
always
spectrum. I
existed.
don't know,
It's always
but
been a train of
it's
thought.
just it's just the thing where I've, I don't have a problem. Let's just put it this way, and this is just for me. We are, me and you, apparently what we call ourselves nowadays as, I think we called cis males. Now, this is a funny saying, because in South Africa, if you call something cis, then it's like, meh, it's like gross. If you eat something that you don't like, you go, ach no, cis man. So it's very interesting that they call it a cis male, and that basically just means that you associate yourself with the gender that you are born as. It's very fucking interesting. I've got no problem. I've had gay people on the podcast before. I've got no problem with any way of life. You do you, boo boo. I've got no problem with fucking anyone. But I think it goes very interesting fucking pathways when you wear a little bracelet, and if you wear it this way, then you male, and then everyone has to call you him and you. What's the pronouns? All of those fucking pronouns, and that fucking takes my mind. And then if you wear it the other way, then you she, her, or they, them, or fucking what.
In the immediate
I'm fine with that.
it shouldn't.
Don't lock me up if I don't fucking say that. I think that's what I take away from it. Is if you look like a woman, and I say, "Madam, can I do this?" or "Madam, yes, hello, madam," and you go, "No, that's hate speech because I identify as a man." That's a fucking joke. Calm yourself, because then immediately I go, you don't have any problems in your life, because that goes, you don't have any problems in your life. You're creating problems.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway,
no, but don't. we all, me and you included, dwell too much on that. Trans people are a real thing. People born that don't identify with their sexuality is real, and it always has been.
Yeah.
But they are such a small proportion of our society that when we're making laws based purely upon their opinions, then we've gone down the wrong track. But we all want to be humane, and we all want to love our fellow man. And when people, I don't think those people that are trans and have struggled with it all their lives and making the fuss, it's advocates, it's allies, it's the people that just want to get their voices heard because they've got something, outrageous, as far as a lot of people can say, are concerned, would say. What we don't need to do as a society is pay too much heed to that. We need to acknowledge them and love them, because it doesn't cost anything to love a person. But we shouldn't be making policies for all of us based on them. And I think that's the thing that slipped. It's not the fact that there's now different words for it. It's always existed. It exists in animals. I've tried to get billy goats to jump that won't jump for a female. They'll only jump for a male.
Yeah.
I can't ask them if they identify as a female. I think that, well, if I'm being a little bit too far on the right-hand side, I'd quite happily admit that I think homosexuality in all its diversity has been expanded out too far. You can love whoever you want to love. You're not allowed to love animals, which if you listen to the Louis C.K. sketches, would
You
be
can love animals, but up to a point.
up to a point. But if you can just love each other, I don't think anything else is really needed. I don't think we should be forming ourselves into bands based on sexuality. Sexuality is what you do with a consenting adult. Don't get me wrong, non-consensual is wrong. I reckon it's
No
always,
means no.
no means no, and it always has meant no. But animal sex, most of our human sex hasn't been based on no means no. It's been based on I'm going to do this and you fucking try and stop me.
We're laughing about it. It's not Kev, but it's funny.
It's not
anyway.
Kif. It's not Kif at all. But it is history. We're not talking about Russian soldiers coming in and raping Polish women. We're talking about animal behaviour for most of our lives. Like it was about I can and I will, and you will try and stop me. We're past that now because we're societal. We are different. We are different, and we have to separate.
We've got structure.
Yeah, and we have to separate ourselves from our animals because we are different. We do different things. We go to the moon. We build.
If you believe that we ever went to the moon.
No, fuck off, mate. Don't even give me that shit. We build particle accelerators and we come up with nuclear fusion and fission and stuff. We are different, and that is new. And we've not really biologically evolved beyond that. But if you pass it off like it's not human rape or abuse or human trafficking, or it was fairly recently normal, and we're getting to grips with that now because we are technologically advanced and we are capable of understanding that is wrong. We are.
Yeah.
But just saying that it doesn't exist and it's not been a part of our culture for millions of years is naive as well. Let's just get to a stage where, before the asteroid comes or before the Yellowstone volcano erupts, let's just get to a stage where we can agree that whatever we believe is pretty similar. And it comes back to your pantheism to round this podcast off. Whatever you believe, we're all pretty much thinking the same thing, with a few minor differences here or there. I wanted to talk to you about this tonight, but we've not got time for it. The Manchester Arena.
Well, we've got we're an hour in, so we've got another 20 odd minutes.
So, did you read much about the Manchester Arena bomber?
No.
So there was an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester a few years back. There was a fucked up lad who'd got all his wires crossed. He packed his backpack full of explosives and he walked into the foyer of that concert and he blew himself up with a lot of other people. There was carnage all around, body parts. I think in Syria or Afghanistan or maybe Ukraine now, that was, something that they might have seen before. But in this country, it wasn't. paramedics and the fire crew were told not to go in because there was a potential threat.
Yeah.
And they didn't because of systems of administration and power structures. And they didn't walk forward in a crisis. If me and you pulled out into a road and there was carnage going on, you would walk forward and help out. It's human nature. I reckon 99.99% of humans would do. But for some fucked up reason, they didn't. I put a post on Facebook last night and I deleted it because I thought it sounded too right wing. How, when you're paid and trained to do that job, is there any way that you can't walk into that?
It's a difficult thing. I think if we can put it now, I could put it into like all of the school shootings that are going on in America. There was this one, I can't remember which one because there's so bloody many, which is so fucking sad. But there was one that happened a while ago in America that the police and everyone were told not to go in.
Jacksonville,
And the parents,
Florida. Yeah.
I don't know which one it was, but there was quite a few parents that wanted to go in, wanted to go save their children, and they were held back, and the police were told to not go in. And I think it boils down to if I'm your boss, if I'm the police chief or whatever you want to call it, you are on the ground, you are there, and I tell you, listen here, you're not going in there for whatever reason. Now you can go down the corridor of, okay, first of all, let's say we've got 10 people of interest in there, we've got 10 police officers there. If you go in there and this person kills all of you, all of the 10 people that are there, then our first front is gone. What do you fall back on? Which makes sense. I mean, I'm not taking away anything from this, but you can't just send everyone in blindly and go, okay, right, guns are blazing, we're going in. Because then you might end up having a bigger body count.
Yeah.
Do you go, okay, now I take it as I've got a kid. If my kid is in a school and there's a school shooter, I'm 100% running in. No one's going to stop me. I'm going to go fetch my kid.
Yeah.
From my perspective. From the guy that's running this whole show, is going to go, listen here, you're going to go, he's talking to me now. Listen here, you're going to go in, not knowing where anyone is, where the shooter is, where your kid is. You're going to go in there and you're going to die. Then my body count goes up by 1. My wife goes in, body count might potentially go up by 2. So there is that difficult thing of, do we just send in 75 people, go run, go save your kids, and then you die and your kid dies and everyone dies? Or someone needs to handle this shit. And it's fucking difficult. And I think that's where this bombing thing that you're talking about is, you don't know if that guy that detonated the bomb, was he wearing a vest? Did he kill himself? Or did he just plant a bomb and made it go off? And now he's sitting somewhere waiting for another 60 people to come in and then detonate bomb number 2. So
yeah,
I can understand that people go, okay, listen here, let's just fucking assess the situation and not go in.
But when
I can understand that, but I can also understand it from my side, which is my kid's in there. I'm going to go fucking rip that guy's face off. And then maybe also die. And what it's so difficult because people are so fucked up nowadays that you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I guess no. You're changing my mind here, which is the point of these discussions, and I'm really grateful for it. But my only perspective on that has been when Janet at work got run over by a loader.
Are we sorry, Jim? I'm going to stop you right there. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, it's all over and done with. The inquiry's done. I hope I'm
You sure?
done with it. Yeah, but I was there. I'm not talking about it from hearsay.
No, I know, but is there not like ongoing stuff about it? Are we allowed to talk about it?
I really don't know. But
Because I can easily just cut this out of the
yeah,
podcast.
well, okay, well, fair enough. Let's talk about it then. The thing that I was struck with in comparison to the Manchester Arena bombings was when there's people willing to run in and help and hold hands, even if that person is dying, you go in and you help out. And even if another bomber, even right, it's not a comparable situation because if somebody's bombing someone and there's a risk of somebody else blowing themselves up, then yeah, there's other people going to die. But in the whole of human history, we've sent troops into impossible battles. Have you watched All Quiet on the Western Front yet on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Mate,
No.
like the Germans, the British, the French were sending people into impossible battles.
Yeah, well, that's war.
Yeah, that's war. Yeah, that's war. Good point. When there's someone laid on the ground that's your friend and you're willing to help and you're told not to be sent in because of other risks, the risk is still the same, but the intention is still the same. Why can't we let humanity do what it does and comfort those people while they die?
But see, that's the thing. That's what I said about someone has to take.
No. I'm going to interject there. No, somebody doesn't have to. Human nature takes precedent on those occasions. On a one.
No, it does. But
Just to
someone is. I'm struggling with finding the English word for this now because I know what it's called in Afrikaans, but I can't.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, bud. Damn it, man. Because you see, it's always a thing of if I send you to do something,
no,
and you fuck it up, then it's on me. And if you put it in terms of war, there's always someone in charge. So if you send in troops and they all die, then that washes back on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that, but it wasn't people sending anybody in. It was people that genuinely wanted to go in and help and been stopped by commanding officers. It's the antithesis of that. If anybody had told me that I couldn't go in and comfort her while she died, I would have regretted that much more than what happened in the actual circumstances. And fortunately enough, because it wasn't war, there was no commanding.
Yeah, that's so different because the danger has been put aside. Everything's been stopped, and it's gone like, okay, we've stopped everything. You can go. I think in any war type situation or any situation where you don't know where the problem is going to come from, it's a bit different. Because you don't know, someone has to control the situation. And the
No.
responsibility, that's the word that I was looking for. There's always responsibility, always falls onto someone. Whether you like it or not, someone has to take responsibility of a situation, and that's normally the people that we hate at the end of the day, going, why the fuck did you not send more people in? Or when it goes bad, we go, why the fuck did you send those people in? And that's that bit of fucking up and down that we go for.
I think
in
it's a little bit.
her case,
Well, I think it's a little bit.
no, but that's what
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say, is that was different, where the danger situation was put aside, where, okay, everything stopped, there's no more danger, now you can go in and hold a hand, sort it out. Where if you put it into a bombing or a school shooting or whatever, because like, we are not fully in control of this situation, so it's fucking difficult to go and save your kids. And that's sort of the 2 points that I'm on, where, like I said, if it's my kid in a school shooting, I would 100% go and run in.
Right. Well, you've just hit the nail on the head as far as I'm concerned. If it was your kid or your wife or your family member, are you not allowed to make that decision for yourself? If someone was trying to stop you running in to something that horrible that had happened to your kid and they died, you would never forgive those people that stopped you from running in. Put that aside, when you've got volunteers that are willing to run into a situation where they know it's risky and they know it's their job, and some cunt tells them, no, you can't. I think that puts a mockery. I think that's so shameful. I think that puts a mockery on the whole human spirit. Okay, they might die. There might be a risk. There might be another bomb. But it was their decision to go in, just like it was a parent to go into a child. And it wasn't a parent, a child. It was a total stranger. And those beautiful human beings that were willing to go in and say, yeah, I'll do that, were stopped and people died. I really struggle with digesting that, because that puts mockery on the whole human spirit.
I think it is difficult. I think it's really, obviously we're looking at this from, we're looking at history. We're looking at something that's already happened, and it's very easy to go, you should have done that different, you should have done that different, you should have done that different. And I think we do have to see it for what it is, where looking back on something, it is that, what do they say, hindsight is always 2020. It's always very easy to assess something when it's already happened, but when you're in that situation, hello Yogi. Okay, so for anyone watching, this is the dog that we always talk about. This is Yogi, who did an absolutely shocking job today.
Absolutely shocking. He's free to a good home. If anybody wants to take this dog off my hands for zero money,
No,
to him.
Tim, I know you're joking, because I know you would not give that dog away.
Oh, mate.
But
I know. But
yeah, I think it's, and this is now again, this is coming back to problem solving. I think it's easy to look back and go, this is what you were supposed to do. When you're in that situation, not so easy, my man.
But do you not think the people that volunteered to go into that arena when there was potential threat, that, maybe not rationally thought it out, but were willing to go in, were stopped? That throws a fucking... it throws a grenade in the whole human society. Like, there is good people out there, the ones that will stop at the side of the road when someone's in trouble, when they know it's risky. Our society shouldn't be telling those that they shouldn't. Our society is being built on the people that will. And if we get to a stage where we all think, oh, that's risky, we can't do that, it just makes
It's difficult because you also don't know if you're sending in John Wick
no,
or
not
if you're
sending
sending
you're sending in the people,
me.
you're sending in the qualified people that understand how to do medicine on.
Yeah, but that exactly. You're sending in someone that knows how to do a specific thing. So you don't want to just sacrifice those people.
It's not sacrificing.
It is. If you don't know, if you don't have control of the situation, then sending in someone to a situation where they might as well just get killed because you're not in control of the situation. That's a difficult decision to make. And I think that is what I'm trying to say. If you are in charge of the situation, how do you, Jim, how do you decide? Do you just go, okay, well, okay,
But
there's a bomb. There's a bomb in this arena, and you are in charge of sending people in. You don't know, number one, as I said, you don't know if the bomber was a suicide bomber or not. You don't know if he's got more charges laid up somewhere. Which are now you're not in control of the situation. You are in control, but you're not in control of what's happening inside. How many people do you send in? How do you decide who you're going to send in? Because you're not in control.
No, you just said send in. I'm talking about the people that were willing to go in and help, letting them.
Yes, but that's.
No, it's not sending them in. It's letting them go in. It's it's not a subtle.
No, but it's the same thing. If you are in charge of going, okay, let's just send these people in, or let's just let these people go in. You might as well be letting these people go in, and a second charge goes off, and you blow another 40 people dead, and then that's on you.
No.
So that's why I'm saying it's not as clean cut. It's not as easy as it. Listen, guys, you want to go in? All right, go in. That's why I'm saying I understand both points. If it was my kid in there, fucking 100%, I'd like to go in. I want to go in, but it might not be the smartest thing.
Do you not think there's any difference between a conscript and a soldier?
I think a soldier is someone that elects himself and goes, yeah, I see what you're doing.
You know what I mean? There is a difference. It may be subtle, but when it comes to commanding officer and his guilt or his remorse come after the event, I think there is a huge difference. The ones that want to walk forward, the nurses, the soldiers that want to do it, and in my mind, the difference is the ones that have pre-planned it, that have thought about it beforehand. Because if you're well, like say me or you are arriving on a situation, and there's stuff to be done, there's people laid out. You can help them. You know you can help them. And you want to go forward and you want to help. Compared to you don't want to go forward and you're scared and your commanding officer or whoever is above you tells you to go in. In my mind, there is a existential difference between the two. And the ones that die volunteering to do it will be, well, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but they will
Valhalla.
be held in high esteem by their communities forevermore. And my opinion on death is when you're gone, you're gone. It's the same as when you... Have you ever had general anaesthetic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember much about what happened to you under the general anaesthetic? No.
Nope.
My opinions of death pretty much fall among that category. You know, it's gone. You're gone. You know, you're not sat in purgatory thinking about it all. But if we didn't have people that were willing to walk forward, what the fuck are we about as humans?
No, but I think we're saying the same thing, just a bit different. Me and you, we were at the same training week thing for the first aid thing that we did.
Yeah.
One of the first things, and I've had a qualified, like legit Christian van Zyl. I've had him on the podcast before. He's an EMT. He said the same, and we were taught the same thing, is you assess the situation, because the most important person there is you. If you are there to help, you are the most important person there. You need to assess the situation to make sure that you don't just die.
Yeah.
Because you there to sort out the problem.
Yeah.
So if you just run in blindly, you die. That is the worst case scenario. So you have to go in, and before just running in blindly, you have to assess the situation. Now, someone has to assess the situation.
The operative word in what you've said is you. You have.
Yeah, but you.
If you're waiting for a command structure on a human level, when it comes, I don't know what these boys do in Syria or Afghanistan, but when they see their brothers fall or are seriously injured, and they have some chance of being helped by you getting them out of there, human nature comes in. If a command structure tells you that you can't do that because you have to do what you're told, as far as I'm concerned, fuck that.
Oh, well, the best movies run around.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about
that.
movies,
I'm gonna go.
about real experience.
No. But I'm talking about the whole idea of fuck whoever's in command. I'm gonna go run in. That is the best fucking army movies ever made. Is I'm not gonna listen to whoever is in command. I'm gonna run into a situation where I've got 1% of surviving, and I'm gonna run in and I'm gonna save everyone. That is great in cinematic universe.
No, that's
99% of the time it doesn't work out that way. So all I'm saying is,
I would pull you up on your 99.9% there.
No, but see, that's why the movies are so good, because we all believe. I think that is what we are saying, is humanity is good. Yeah. Humanity is at a base level good, where we will all go, there's someone there that needs help. I'm going to go help that person. All I'm trying to say, it's not always that easy. Because we don't want a situation where there's one person that needs help, and it is that seesaw thing of we don't want to go put 40 people's lives in danger to save one.
No, but I think
because it is that social. Yeah.
It's such a complicated issue. It really is.
It's very, very complicated.
You know, like watching that All Quiet on the Western Front when there's generals who understand the situation and are sending lads into their death. I think that's one extreme compared to the individual situation where, when it comes to the Parkland shooting in Florida, where the police were just stood outside, they were trained, they were equipped, full body armor against one teenage boy who went in there shooting kids. We all understand how vulnerable schools are. There's a load of kids together. What my point is, I guess, that I'm trying to say is when there's people volunteering to go in and say, I can do this, or I can help, and for commanding structures to say, no, you can't, and it results in even more deaths, then they should be not the people directly, but the commanding officers should be wholly ashamed of themselves.
I also feel like in that instance it wasn't handled correctly, I must say. But it is, once again, it's a difficult decision to make. Whether you make it correctly or wrongly, that decision was made, and you can put that onto anything. It's micromanagement in its purest fucking form, where he could have, just to play devil's advocate, the person in charge could have sent in everyone and the body count would have gone up by 30.
Yeah.
That's the other end of it.
That's not what I'm talking about. Commanding officers sending everybody in. I'm talking about the people that wanted to go in.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I love this.
It is difficult.
It's a good discussion.
It is. It's good. And I must say, I'm glad we're back to drinking, because I feel like this episode is a lot more. It's much more interesting than the ones we've had, because the previous ones were all like, we're doing the kettlebells and we're not drinking and it's sad and we're struggling. Cheers, Jim.
Cheers, man. Yeah. I love you to pieces. I love that we can have these discussions.
It's very interesting. I need to take a piss quickly.
And I too.
We're an hour and 40 minutes in, so we're gonna take a piss quickly and then finish off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're done pissing, for lack of a better word, because we went for a piss. So we're back on, yeah. Jim, how do you feel about doing your... this is very professional. Jim, how do you feel doing your... You are, like I said in the second one, you were the first repeat offender. Now you're on your... For the third time. Do you feel more relaxed? Is it more easier? Is it easier now?
I'm chatting with a good mate. Drink certainly makes it easier. I think me and you are designed to chat to each other under drink.
Yeah.
We are not. Now that I've got you as captive audience, can I tell you how much I love you?
Yes, you can.
Mate, you arrived at our farm with Alison and Luke as refugees.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, basically. And I had no professional position to ask you questions, but I'm a manager. I've been with the company a long time. And the first thing that I said to you is, who are you? Why are you here? And your response was, we've arrived literally right now. I can't give you answers to your questions. I loved you from that point straight on. Like you are. Oh, I'm going to sound really fucking gay here, but you
Hashtag no homo.
no, you just I don't know. I've only just arrived here, and I loved you from that point on. That you are real. Bert Kreischer reference. You are. You are real. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You're genuine, and I've been fascinated with you ever since.
I honestly think that's why most people don't like me.
Yeah, maybe. You look.
I really. I look what?
German.
I don't know if we've got German in us. I think our tailors, we're Scottish. As far as I know, we're Scottish from my dad's side, and we Dutch from my mom's side. So there might be a bit of German in there somewhere. But I don't know. I really do think that's why most people don't like me, is because I'm just me.
Yeah.
I don't really give a fuck about anyone's opinion.
Well, can I say, A, I completely agree with that, and B, that's why I love you. You are who you are. You emigrate. Well, let's get serious here. You emigrated from quite a comfortable. You're not gutter poor South African. You're not coming from the ghetto.
No.
Your family raised you well. You had an illustrious career over there. You were a farm manager / professional hunter. And you gave it all up to come up to East Yorkshire to work on a farm as not second or third in command. Like you came up to just work. I've got.
Well, I had to.
Yeah, no. I know. Well, you think you had to. There's a lot of people in your position that didn't do what you did. And you must know them. You know, your friends over there didn't do what you did. You didn't remove your family for no reason. You must have seen some reason to get yourself out of there.
Well, I don't know if I told you about my wife's parents that got attacked like a few weeks ago.
No.
Don't know if I want to put too much of this on the podcast, but yeah, they got attacked just outside Port Elizabeth. Broke into a back door while they were in the house and got tied up and attacked and stole basically everything they had. And yeah, I don't think it's my place to talk about this, but yeah, very shitty situation that they were in.
You need to sit next to Tracy, who pays our wages, Zimbabwe. She basically got driven out. I think she went to South Africa first, and then got driven out of there and ended up in England. I think maybe you've got more in common than we do. All I see of you is a highly intelligent, useful person that could have done loads of stuff where he is, i.e. South Africa, but decided to come over here and make a life for their family. It's the same feeling that I have for the Poles or the Romanians that come over here. They're giving up. You are giving up everything to come over here and start a new life. It's brave as fuck, man. Really brave.
I think brave is putting too much on it.
No, I don't think it is.
It's definitely it is a big thing. I'm not taking away anything from it. It's definitely a big thing. We're going back to South Africa for a visit next year March, and I find myself sort of making a little list in the back of my head of stuff that I want to do when I'm back in SA, and it's all stuff that I'm missing. It's all stuff that I can't do here. And I must say it's difficult sort of thinking. We've been here a year and a half now. A year and a half basically. And it's been a tough year and a half. It's not been easy. As you said, I mean, in South Africa, I used to be farm manager. I used to be sort of like over here. I'm not gonna go over here. I used to be over here, and now I'm over here. And it's been a very humbling experience, work-wise, coming here. I've had my CV thrown in my face, saying means a lot in South Africa, means fuck all in the UK. And that's why I'm saying it's been a very humbling experience. On social level, it's been difficult because we as South Africans, as I've explained to you on many times, we are social people. We are, because of the weather. I do really believe it's because of the weather. We've got great weather in South Africa. We braai fucking every second night because we've got great weather. Over here, it's a bit more difficult. People are not as social as what we used to, just because you've got shit weather. You can't braai.
Yeah.
Everything happens in short stints because the weather might change and we might get rain. Anyway, it's not been easy. It's not been difficult. I think saying that we are brave coming here is putting too much weight on it. It's not that hard.
Nah.
It's not that difficult. I honestly feel. I honestly feel like I'm still in South Africa. I think it's because I'm in agriculture. I feel like farming's farming. Doesn't matter where you are. And because I'm in the milking industry here, as you know, you are a prisoner on the farm. I mean, you're working 75,000 hours a month.
Mm-hmm.
So my world is very small at this point. And I generally feel...
The thing that is remarkable to me is that you take that on the chin. You expect...
Well, I don't have a back door. I can't go back to South Africa at this point. I've spent too much money coming here. So it doesn't make sense for me to just go, oh, fuck, it's difficult here.
Yeah,
I don't have the luxury of having buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
I've bought this car. I'm going to fucking drive it for the next 7 years.
But the difference that I see in the Poles or the Romanians that come over is you don't necessarily, you're not getting a financial benefit from coming over here and contributing to our economy. You've paid.
Big financial benefit.
No, you've paid massive,
Yes.
you've paid massively into our economy. What was? Tell me again what you paid into the NHS to come out.
No, okay. No, definitely. It is my financial costs of coming here is a shitload, but I'm also making 3 times the amount of money that
Yeah, but
I've
for
made in South
UK
Africa.
viewers, tell them what you've paid into the UK economy to come over here. You've not just arrived on a boat and expected a job.
No. Okay, so I've had to pay. Okay, now us as a family. So we are here on ancestral visas. So my wife has got British family. So we are basically here on the front that my wife has got British grandparents. All right. So NHS is the National Health
Service.
Thank you. So you guys, in the British market of things, you pay a small monthly amount, and then you don't. If you go to a doctor, if you go to see anyone in terms of fucking doctors, you don't pay anything. You paid £8 or whatever for a small little fee. So I think I was here for 3 months, and then I fucking hooked my leg on the parlor and cut myself. Went into A&E, got stitches done. I got a some other injection. I got shitload of work done. Cost me £8. So it's nothing. I had to, so that is how the system works over here. But we had to basically buy into the system because we are new here. We've never paid any NHS fees. So we had to pay, I can't remember how much it was, but I think we had to buy in the equivalent of 5 years of being in. So we had to pay the equivalent of 5 years worth of NHS fees.
Yeah.
Shitload of money. It's a lot. But if you compound that, if you put in all the money that I put into my immigration, all the visa fees, all the flights, all the NHS fees, all the money that we had to have in the bank coming here to show that we're not just coming here to come and lie on Boris Johnson's back when he was still in charge. If you put all of that money into one lump sum, it's a shitload of money. But I did that because I wanted, the only reason we came here, I wanted a better future for my kid.
How much?
I did not want him to, I don't want my kid to even understand the fact that farmers are in danger in South Africa. I don't want him to know about that. I want him to go to school without a worry. I want him to live on a farm, without a worry. I see you fucking yawning there. I'll finish my story now. It was 95% of my immigration and my wife's immigration was to give little Luke, who's not that little anymore, to give him just that fucking one-up, just that bit of a kickstart. And that's worth so much more than what I spent coming here.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I don't think a lot of English folk understand is that you actually pay for that. It's not just coming in. And when we were in the EU, it wasn't the same. You came in and you contribute, you pay your taxes here, and it went to here. My God, why don't people understand that if you are bringing up children in this country, working in this country and paying taxes in this country, then you are not only contributing, you're denying those contributions to your own country.
That's actually a very interesting sort of train of thought, because you do sit with South Africa sitting with the same problem where we've got, it's not necessarily a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all as long as you regulate it. If you've got people coming into a country, and that happens everywhere, America, the UK, South Africa, you've got people streaming in. South Africa's got a bit of a problem because we've got a shitload of people streaming in that are undocumented. We've got a lot of people coming in from the north that don't have papers, and they literally just short swim over the fence.
Yeah.
Sorted. And that's why the South African passport is worth fuck all. You cannot go anywhere with a South African passport. You have to buy fucking visas or whatnot. You owning a British passport, you can literally just buy a plane ticket to a lot of countries and just go there. As me holding what we call a groenbamba, a South African fucking passport, you can't go nowhere. You can go fucking nowhere because you have to buy a visa. There's a lot of money. Now, I can tell you now, all in all, this immigration has cost me a shitload of money. I won't divulge how much, because then people are just going to say, oh, there's a lot of money. And that's why I've had to... I was not able to just hang around and go, I just want to be a farm manager.
Yeah.
I'll hang around and wait for the perfect position to open up. I couldn't do that. I had to get into the structure as quick as possible, pay tax, and then I had to get into the system. South Africa is allowing people in at an alarming rate. America is sitting with the same situation. The UK is limiting that. And I understand what you're saying, where we need to get people in that know how to do the work. Like me, or like the Polish, as you said, or the Romanians, or whatever. Let the people in that want to come do the work. Makes sense. But you have to limit that. Because if you don't limit it, then you're just letting people in. And this is now, this is going to go into a fucking whole situation.
Yeah, this is a whole other podcast, as far as I'm concerned. But my opinions are, if we're not breeding in this country, which we're not, there used to be a popular sitcom called 2.4 Children, which was the birth average in this country. We're not doing that. We're allowing everybody to come in and do the breeding for us. And as far as I'm concerned, brilliant. We should, mate. We need to do another whole podcast because we can't get into this now, and we've done 2 hours 7 minutes and 48 already.
Okay, let's do this. While we're on breeding, I'll tell you this quick story just for a laugh.
Right.
Because I almost caused myself today to not breed any further.
Well, you smacked you up. Well, you told me about chastising yourself.
Okay, so we are on a goat farm, as I think most people listening to this would know. So I was catching kids this afternoon. And one of the goats had kidded twins. So I took the little buggy, parked it there with all the tags and the notes and the papers or whatnot. Parked it, climbed into the pen, marked the goat that had kidded, took the two kids. Now, obviously, this is in a pen. It's a closed-off pen. Now, this pen is just the edge of it's like a gate. The gate is just high enough that you can't just climb over it. You have to step and then climb over. Unbeknownst to me, I had stepped as proper. Unbeknownst to me, I had stepped in placenta, which is the most slippery substance known to man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
While holding two kids, now not two kids as in human kids, two goat kids, I put my right foot on the gate, stepped over with my left, and then my right foot slipped. And I fell on the gate with my full weight while hanging on to two kids.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers, bud. So I fell onto this gate. Now, a normal fall would be fine. But I think the problem was because I was holding the two kids, my weight was a bit forward. So I did not, because normally if you slip on a gate, you fall on your taint. You fall on the piece of useless skin that's between your anus and your ballsack.
Yeah.
I fell. Okay, luckily this is at the end of this podcast, so no one will listen to this. But I fell, Jim. I'm going to be very fucking real on this now. I fell, I fell on the base of my penis, the like the inside, like
The room.
I fell on that part.
Yeah.
And I immediately just died for 2 seconds while holding two goat kids. I got off, put them in the box, tried to get up, and the bottom of my abdomen just shouted at me saying, "You're not gonna fucking stand up now." There was a shooting pain inside of my body going, "You're gonna stand with your fucking hands on your knees for at least 6 minutes." The first thing that I did was I turned into a meerkat. Do you know, Jim, do you know what a meerkat is?
I do know what is a meerkat. Yeah.
Okay, so I immediately turned into a meerkat because I went, did anyone see me? I looked left and right very fucking quickly just to see that no one saw me. And I stood there going, ah, and it is a pain that you cannot explain to anyone. And I was just standing there going like, please just don't die, number one. And then also my immediate thought was I 100% just ruptured a nut, a ball, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm standing there going, I can't just reach into my pants because it's gonna fucking look weird. So I need to assess the situation and see that no one's looking at me. So I zipped down my pants and just felt that I've still got two testes. So I did that and I had them, and then approximately 32 seconds later, I had this feeling inside of me that I really needed to take a piss now. And I thought, fuck, that's only one reason is because my bladder is filling up with blood. I was so scared that I just fucked up my system. So I walked out and I walked around the corner and I'm standing there going, okay, Philip, you need to... Now I'm pulling myself towards myself going, Philip, you need to understand that you might be pissing blood now. And that's a bit of a problem because no one needs to piss blood. So I was standing outside there going, okay. And I took a piss and there was no blood. And I was so excited. But still, like, I was... You know when like a 65-year-old guy tells you that you know those stories that people tell you, like 65-year-olds or whatever. Where the fuck are you now,
I'm
John?
just opening the door so Max don't piss on my sofa. Sorry, go here.
That's how I felt. I felt today that I might piss on your sofa.
You're 60.
But you know that those people that tell you like, I'm 75.
Yeah.
I wake up 3 times during the night and then I got to take a piss and it burns.
100%.
And so
Yeah.
I felt like that, mate. I felt like that. I was standing like, yo, it's shoo. I know. Immediately sent Alison a message saying, I know we are not at this point looking at having another kid, but I might have just spoiled that where we are 100% not having another kid. And I'm standing there going like, and I have to show you this.
Don't show me your dick, mate, because
I'm not going to, but I was having a piss, but it was like sore over here, like, and I felt like, and I was standing like this. Like, I was just thinking. I was standing there thinking, like, I might just die. But anyway, I'm okay. Everything works. I tested the pipes. Everything works fine.
I'm so glad because you look so healthy, mate. You look the most healthy. No, genuine. You look the healthiest I've seen you. Not because of the weight loss. I think because of the alcohol free. Right, mate. I'm going to ring you tomorrow. This is it.
Yeah, we need to finish this off. This is drawing on.
I've got a 16-year-old terrier that wants to piss all over my house, and I'm not going to let him. But I think this has been the best conversation of my life.
Jim, this has been fun. I must say, I probably would have done Sober October this year, but I'm so glad that you initiated this. I'm so glad that you decided to do Sober October with me. And I am very glad that you did not just kick alcohol, but that you kicked weed as well. We've had in private conversations we've had about weed. You've got my
It's hard to discuss.
point of view of weed,
Well,
and
no, it's
I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad you are still doing it.
it's really hard to discuss weed with people that don't smoke it, and you've got a brother that does. I appreciate that, but you've not been a weed hound. I've tried to.
Yeah, I've had a bit of weed in my life,
Yeah,
but
no,
not.
it's never been your thing. It's always been my thing, and well, I think more than anybody else that you've understood that what we've done this month, more than the alcohol, I'm pissed, mate. It's hard to get my opinion across.
That's fun.
The weed thing has been
I'm
massive.
I'm glad. I really am glad that I had that I played a part in you stopping weed.
Yeah,
I really am.
yeah, totally. You have absolutely, totally played a part in it. Whether it continues or not is on me.
That's on you, 100%.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's still to be decided. But mate, I love you. I love you to pieces.
Love you, Jim. This has been fun.
Yeah,
I think we must do this. I think we've done 3 now, so let's do more. My internet has decided to work tonight, which is fucking amazing. I'll see what the editing does when we're done. Yeah, but thank you very much.
I think your
I
audience,
did tell
your
you
audience
that
might be bored of me now. But I'm more than willing to.
I think my audience is about 2 people. There's not a lot of people listening, but as I said, I don't really. This is fun, irrespective of how many people listen to this, and I can actually say, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack a bit. I do say that I don't care about who listens, but I do care a bit in terms of it is nice to find out that I can now say that the podcast has been listened to just over 1,000 times. I think we're on 1,080 or something like that. So it is fun to know that I'm not just talking into a void. And it's quite interesting to see where, because it's been everywhere from South Africa, the UK, the Middle East, Canada, fucking America. It's amazing to see where all the listeners are coming from. So thank you to everyone and anyone still listening to this.
Yeah.
But this thing has always been more about just having a conversation, irrespective of who's listening. And I think that's the crux of this thing. It's just I don't know about you, but I've not once thought about who's going to listen to this. We just had a conversation. It's just been fun. So thanks, Jim. Thanks for contributing to the Kakpraat Chronicles.
Fuck that thing, mate. I love you. I love everything about what you're doing, and I love this podcast. Um, don't worry about the listeners. If they want to listen, they'll listen. And mate, you are genuinely interesting. Oh mate, I sound pissed.
You do. There we go. Oh, but I do think that's how. Oh well, that's broken, huh? This is the perfect end to our sober October stint. Is you just breaking shit?
Yeah, I reckon so. But don't let the message get dissolved. You are a wonderful human being. You ask good questions. I've really enjoyed this conversation tonight, but I am pissed, mate.
Well, let's end it on that.
Yeah. Love you, mate. Speak soon.
Chum, love you to bits. Cheers, buddy.